Reid Duke character on your right. Against Mark Strassman on your left, it's Elves versus Punishing Maverick, and we are excited to be bringing you all this action. We want to thank our wonderful friends over at Ultimate Guard for being a part of this tournament, as these players will likely shake hands, and we will be underway. Reid will start with a Misty Rainforest. He's going to fall down to 19. We'll see what land he does want to search up. Could go basic hunting, and he will, with just a normal forest. And we're going to see some sort of one-mana elf here.
Oh, for sure. The decks that get to play a couple of basic lands they're just so protected from Wasteland. They're protected from Blood Moon. So it's a big benefit if you can do that with some of these decks.
He'll play a Nettle Sentinel, which, you think he's playing Mono Green Stompy?
Yeah, I think it's just going to go beatdowns here.
Okay. Strassman, if he is familiar with Legacy, you have to imagine he knows exactly what he's up against right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and the key for Strassman in a matchup like this is just to have a couple of removal spells on the early turns. Make sure Reid doesn't get too far ahead. He's in a fortunate spot here with his opponent mulliganing to 5, to where each removal spell is going to be even more potent.
This will be a Green Sun Zenith. Windswept Heath is the land that Strassman is going to sacrifice. Pay a life to do so. That's why he's down to 19. He's going to search up a Savannah. With that, Green Sun Zenith will find Dryad Arbor, actually something that Elves normally does a little more than Maverick, but it is a mana accelerant for both decks as we head back over to Reid Duke.
And this is the key here. Reid has to get onto the board this turn and then have a big play next turn. Mark, just with so many more resources at his disposal, is going to run away with this game if it goes longer than 3 or 4 turns.
Yeah, Legacy, there are times where it can be kind of a slow format.
Yeah.
When Miracles is involved, maybe in some Maverick or green-white mirrors. This matchup probably going to be a little bit quicker as Reid's going to come across here for 2, going to knock Strassman down to 17. The follow-up is a Birchlore Rangers. That will untap the Nettle Sentinel, and all Reid can do is pass the turn back. No second land and not a lot to accelerate to, so not a great start.
Don't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, with this slow start, I mean, Mark he doesn't even have to worry about killing those creatures. They're not the most explosive creatures in the deck. He can just play his own fatty here if he's trying to brick wall his opponent. He can go the mana denial route that he's going here. It's all going to work.
Yeah, Swords of Plowshares is going to take care of the Birchlore Rangers, which will slow down a little bit of Reid's mana development. The follow-up here is a Stoneforge Mystic. It's actually the promotional Stoneforge Mystic. And now we're on the equipment hunt. It is a powerful one against Elves and Umezawa's Jite.
Yeah, these...
Doing the work for me here
this might be a quick match. At least a quick game 1.
For those of you unfamiliar with Jite, given that it is banned in Modern, you won't see it there. So you'll mostly only see this one in Legacy, a little bit in Vintage. Kamigawa Artifact, it was a real good one during that time when Craig and I were playing competitive Magic regularly. If you're able to connect with this one, you don't even have to hit them. You hit a creature, it'll work too. It's just combat damage. You get 2 charge counters. You can move a charge counter to give equipped creature +2/+2. You can give a creature -1/-1, or you can gain 2 life. It's a really good Magic card.
Does a little bit of everything. And anytime you ran into this in Limited, it did not feel good.
Yeah, because you could not possibly.
It was unbeatable.
Yeah.
Unbeatable.
Here's Deathrite Shaman and a passing of the turn. Strassman going to leave 2 mana available to be able to activate the Stoneforge Mystic and put an equipment in play. The assumption, of course, is Umezawa's Jite, but it could be old Batterskull.
It's nice to surprise people sometimes when you search for one and then you deploy a different one.
Reid has found a second land with the Verdant Catacombs. He's going to fall down to 18. And we'll see what land he wants. Actually, excuse me, going to fall down to 19. He gained a life from the Swords to Plowshare. He's going to search up a basic forest. And we'll see what the follow-up is going to be. It's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, I mean, the key for Reid here, he has to have a big turn that involves Glimpse of Nature and deploying a whole bunch of elves to really claw back into this game.
Well, there's the start. Here's a Nettle Sentinel. He'll draw a card. Is there a follow-up? There is not. So a very minor turn there for Reid. Stoneforge Mystic will be activated at the end of Strassman's turn. Excuse me, at the end of Duke's turn. There is the Jite. Now Strassman will untap. And he will be drawing a card, will Mark. Is it time to equip?
It's always time to equip the Jite.
Gonna use, maybe not. Here's Green Sun Zenith. For 2, it appears. What are we gonna search up now? Gaddock Teague. Deathrite Shaman will remove a land. Now, here's a Mother of Runes. So, actually electing not to equip the GT, this might be a little risky.
I don't know if I hate this play. Reid's board is just not that menacing. Even if he's got another Glimpse of Nature, like he just doesn't have the mana to do a whole lot with it. He would have to have a very specific hand in order for Mark to get punished for this line.
Yeah, I mean, we take a look at Gaddock Teague as well. That's a card right now in this situation. It's actually going to shut off Reid's ability to kill via Crater of Behemoth unless something really goes well for him. As you see, Reid's already passing the turn back. Teague is going to shut off Natural Order and Green Sun Zenith.
Yep.
So I think that actually makes things relatively safe. Now we're going to see the GT equipped.
Yeah, the Gaddock Teague was an insurance policy there. He doesn't know if Reid, maybe showed up with the Progenitus in his main deck.
Yeah.
And, Mark's probably thinking, what are the only ways I can lose this game? Let me make sure that those things don't happen. And Natural Order, for Progenitus might be one of the few ways.
Stoneforge Mystic is going to be double blocked by Nettle Sentinel, so there'll be a damage on 1. So GT will remove a charge counter. -1/-1 to the Nettle Sentinel. That was Delta damage. That is dead. We head back over to Duke. Duke is going to draw a card here, but he is still obviously in a lot of trouble. Having to work through Teague, Mother of Runes, GT, and likely a whole bunch more. Going to start with a Glimpse, maybe try to get a little bit lucky here. The follow-up is a Llanowar Elves. That'll draw a card. There's a Misty Rainforest, and all Duke can do is pass a turn back yet again.
Oof.
Here is a Punishing Fire, Llanowar Elves, and I think we are... Well, Reid doesn't concede.
No.
We know that.
Yeah.
But we might just be all done here.
Yeah.
Reid going to play out the home stretch, and actually I think it's pretty smart that he did because now he knows that his opponent is playing Punishing Fire.
Yes.
So he's already picked up a little bit of information. This is part of the reason that we very, very rarely see him concede games, is because there is always information to be picked up.
Yeah, when the opponent's playing a 3-color deck with just a lot of good stuff type of cards, they could have a wide range. They could be playing almost anything. So that little bit of information here and there that you pick up can really help you in sideboarding. It can really help you when you play the next couple of games. So there's a lot of value to be gained there.
Gaddock Teague is going to wear the Umezawa's GT now, and it's coming into the red zone. It will connect. No blocks here from Duke, given that there are no real profitable ones. GT trigger will resolve. 3 charge counters have been placed on the legendary artifact. And Strassman can kind of just sit here with his arms folded and respond to whatever Reid does now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he can pick off elves one at a time. And
now, I know coming into this matchup, as Reid will take his turn, he felt this would be a good one for Reid.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Reid has the ability to just get on the board so much quicker. If he doesn't mulligan to 5, I feel like Mark doesn't have the ability to interact with a Glimpse of Nature. He doesn't really have the ability to remove a bunch of creatures at once. So if Reid has, first turn mana creatures, second turn 1 or 2 mana creatures, third turn Glimpse and just goes crazy, Mark can't stop that.
Yeah. It didn't happen this game.
No.
Obviously. The mulligan to 5 certainly did not help, and the Umezawa's GT is not making things any easier. As the Qasali Pride Mage came down pre-combat, that gave the Gaddock Teague Exalted, and with 5 charge counters on the Umezawa's GT and an active Mother of Runes, Reid says, we're all set.
He's had enough.
As Mark Strassman's going to win game number 1 here over Reid Duke, punishing Maverick up a game here over Elves. As the players will go to the drawing board, so we will analyze the sideboards, and we will start with Reid Duke and his 3 thoughts. He uses his 3 Cabal Therapies, 3 Abrupt Decay, and a bunch of singletons here, and Progenitus, Pithing Needle, Null Rod Wasteland, Karakas, and a Crop Rotation. Craig, what do we like in this matchup against punishing Maverick for Reid Duke?
Well, the Elves deck being so streamlined and being almost a combo deck, it's important for him to not get too crazy sideboarding here. So I would think that maybe some Abrupt Decays come in, maybe not if there's something specific he's worried about. I could see the one of Progenitus coming in. If that just gets onto the board on turn 3 or 4, it's a huge problem for Mark. Outside of that, maybe he wants the Wasteland in order to turn off the Punishing Fires, but at that point he might be losing the game anyway, so it doesn't matter. But just a really light sideboarding out of Reid.
For Mark, who's currently up a game, he's got 2 Aethersworn Cannons, 2 Thalia Guardian of Thraben, 2 Pyroblast, 2 Choke. And then, as you'll find in Legacy, a lot of one-ofs here. An Elspeth Knight Errant, Garruk Relentless, Reclamation Sage, Gaddock Teague, the second one of those actually, a pretty good card in game number 1, a Bajuka Bog, a Pithing Needle, and even a Zealous Persecution.
The Zealous Persecution, you laugh, but this is a matchup where it can really sweep up a lot of creatures. You know, two mana to kill 2 or 3 things on your opponent's side is pretty efficient. So that's probably going to come in. The Gaddock Teague, as you mentioned, is going to be a good one. And then we'll see, how much he wants. The Aethersworn Canonist is good at shutting down the combo-ish turns.
Yeah, the glimpse turns.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's probably going to come in, and that's what he needs. He needs impactful cards that come down on the very early turns, so he doesn't just lose super quick.
Well, he's got plenty of those to work with throughout his 75, so we'll see how Strassman does on the sideboard. And while these players do get ready here for game number 2, we are going to talk about the StarCityGames.com, a weekly sale.
Ooh.
It does end at Monday at 10:59 a.m. East Coast time. We'll have another one for you at 11, and Craig is 15% off select Legacy and Vintage singles.
Legacy?
Ever heard of it?
Isn't that what we have going on this weekend?
That is what we are watching.
Wow. Look at the coordination here of the products.
You really have to appreciate that you can get 15% off a Sneak Attack, a Thoughtseize, a Mana Drain, a Bayou, and a whole bunch more.
Oh, that's not it? It's not just those 4 cards?
There are more cards.
Okay.
I know, shocking to say. StarCityGames.com. Check out the weekly sale. We'll have a new one, up for you guys on Monday at 11 a.m. East Coast time.
Sure. How about some of those promos that we just saw in that game?
Yeah, it's true.
Yep.
See, we're firing away on all cylinders.
Yeah.
You know what it was? It's those French toast sticks this morning.
Ooh. You're all powered up with maple syrup.
They were good. They were good. They were healthy, too. That's what I liked about them. We're going to learn a little bit more about Reid Duke right now. Reid was in my first draft pod at the last Pro Tour.
I did not know that.
He was.
How'd that turn out?
He 3-0'd.
And
a real surprise. Oh, me?
Yeah.
I was the 03.
Oh, so it's like
so that's why I'm here right now watching him play Magic. It's the way things were actually just meant to be.
Sure, the universe is in order here.
That's correct. The 27-year-old from Sugarloaf, New York, with 8 open top 8s, 5 open wins, 5 invitational top 8s, and 1 invitational win. He once beat Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past without dying or using a fairy even once.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds impressive.
It's very hard to do, I think. Worked several years as an assistant to a jeweler. If you've seen Enter the Battlefield, you do know that, and was guest host of the 2008 Sugarloaf Awards.
That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. You laugh.
Yeah, a lot of people show up to the Sugarloaf Awards.
That's right. I think the Zelda one might be the most impressive of the bunch.
What does that say about you that you think that one's the most impressive?
Well, it's not so much about me right now, but I think that's the most impressive of the bunch. I was not very good at Zelda. I enjoyed it. I just wasn't very good at it.
Okay.
So to be able to do that, it's probably some sort of speed running that he's doing there, but maybe he's just playing the game slowly and just not dying because he's a master.
Which game system are we talking about here?
Super Nintendo, I believe.
Okay.
The Super Nintendo Zelda is Zelda: A Link to the Past. Great game. Great game. That's when video games were great. Video games now, way too real for me. It feels like I'm playing a movie. I don't like it.
That's fair.
It doesn't feel like I'm playing a game anymore. Maybe it's because I'm old and jaded, but...
You want it to be cartoonish and fun.
Yeah, I don't want it to be like Call of Duty is actually just too real for me.
Yeah, you don't actually want to go out and shoot someone?
No, I don't want to do that. And I also don't want to listen to some 12-year-old talking trash
talk you while they shoot you.
Because I can't handle that. I cannot handle that. Reid going to start off with the Deathrite Shaman. Mark appears to have a Green Sun Zenith off of Savannah. Going to search up a Dryad Arbor. Looks a lot like game number 1 here for Strassman. Duke.
Ugh.
That's not what anyone wants to see. If that's an attack with the Deathrite Shaman, that is not impressive.
It's a little bit awkward, and it looked like Reid had mulliganed to 6 again this game.
The follow-up is a Wirewood Symbiote. There's a Misty Rainforest, and past that turn back. Now, even though this turn's not all that impressive, the attack with the Deathrite Shaman, he could very easily have a turn 3 natural order for Protectus.
Yep.
So that's totally in play. Strassman's going to sacrifice a Windswept Heath. He's going to fall down to 18. He'll search up some sort of expensive dual land, that's for sure.
Yeah, against some of the more fair decks in the format, like Punishing Maverick, the natural order can just be such a backbreaker.
Yeah.
And I expect to see something out of Reid on turn 3 because there's a reason he kept this hand.
Yeah, I can't imagine that he will have nothing to do on the next turn. Plateau's land's been searched up. This is a Swords of Plowshare. It's going to go after the Wirewood Symbiote. And that's going to bite the dust.
Yeah, the Symbiote's an important one to get off of the board against the Elves deck.
I don't want to call it the most important card for the deck, but it's certainly up there.
Ooh.
It's another Swords.
I can get behind this.
Okay. Well, have you considered that Reid has gained 2 life this turn?
that does not seem detrimental to Strassman's game plan.
Have you considered that? He's going to fall down to 20. There's a Dryad Arbor. I just want to make sure that you're weighing everything in.
Yeah, I mean, the pros and cons to all of this, right?
Yes. We will be heading back Duke's way here in just a moment after he does shuffle and present the deck. He will draw. Duke with a top 16 finish at the last Pro Tour as he does attack for 1 with a Dryad Arbor.
Yeah, kapow.
He's pretty good at this whole Magic thing. Makes it look easy a lot of the time.
Sometimes he doesn't.
Yeah, it's a struggle right now.
Yeah.
There's a Cradle, a Nettle Sentinel. He'll pass the turn back. You have to imagine he's just trying to set up a natural order. And the question is, will Strassman ever let him do that? Because if Reid's actually able to get Progenitus on the battlefield, I'm pretty sure Strassman's on a no-outer.
Yeah.
But he's going to do everything he can to make sure that does not happen.
Yeah, tough to race the old 10-10 protection from everything.
Yes, yes it is. Strassman going to take a long look at his hand. He's the one with all of the cards here as he does play a Thespian Stage. And now a Garruk Relentless.
Ooh.
We'll take a look at that Planeswalker. Haven't seen that one for a little while. Looks like he's going to go after the Dryad Arbor, so it's going to transform.
I like this little mana denial strategy.
Yeah, I mean, by killing that, it actually slows down both the Cradle
Yep.
and Reid's mana development. So there's Garruk Relentless. When it has 2 or fewer loyalty counters, you transform them. Strassman did use the ability to fight. It did transform briefly, but now it is dead. And now we pass the turn back over to Mark. It was Garruk the Veil Cursed for just a moment.
Briefly.
A Wooded Foothills here from Mark. He'll sacrifice that. He's going to fall down to 16, I believe. And let's see what the follow-up is going to be here in just a moment.
And these are the games. If you're the Elves player, this has to be so frustrating where you're so close every turn. You know, your opponent is playing 4 mana removal spells in Legacy, and you're like, oh, just give me one more turn. If I just not mulligan that one time, you know, just all the pieces, you're so close, but you're never quite there.
It looks like it's going to be a Green Sun Zenith, and I think, yeah, we're going to see Gaddock Teeg here. This was so effective for Strassman in the last game, and now he's going to play a Stoneforge Mystic too. You saw him take the Green Sun Zenith to shuffle that back into the deck because that did resolve.
A little bit of shortcutting.
Yep, and now the Stoneforge Mystic. Is it going to search up? Yes, of course, Umezawa's Jite. Yet again, that'll be in Strassman's hand, and now Duke is under the gun to perform like he was in the last game. Yet all he can do is pass the turn back. His Nettle Sentinel not even going to untap because he has no green spell to play. Back over to Mark Strassman, we are going to go. Typically a difficult matchup for Punishing Maverick, but he's making it look very easy against one of the best players here in this tournament.
Yeah, Reid just hasn't had the resources. A couple of mulligans. Mark's done a good job of using his removal to set Reid back, and now he might be able to turn the corner.
Stoneforge Mystic is going to wear the Umezawa's Jite. The hit is going to occur, which means 2 charge counters will be placed onto the Jite here, so long as Mark does remember that trigger. And he's a good Maverick player, so he does. Duke will draw. He will pass. Now I think if you're Reid, outside of, you know, if he has Abrupt Decay in his deck, which he might have after sideboard, to take care of some of these problematic permanents like Umezawa's Jite, he might be just trying to say, I need to set up some sort of Glimpse turn now.
Yeah.
Which he doesn't have a great base to do.
No, it's going to be super tough. If he did have Abrupt Decay in his deck, he felt he had to search for the Dryad Arbor earlier in order to try to, you know, go for the natural order as fast as possible. And now it's really setting him back because he doesn't have the black source. This is just such a tough spot.
Night of the Reliquary has shown up here for Strassman as well. That matters in the context of the Thespian Stage that's on the battlefield for Mark, because in combination with a Dark Depths, that's a 2020.
Make a little Jerry T token.
Absolutely. And if that's a route that Mark wants to go, he certainly can do that. For now, though, Reid's got to try to figure out, is there a way that I can win this game? Is there a set of cards I can actually draw? Because I don't have a lot of time here. Now, he does have Abrupt Decay in hand, but you do see the lack of a black source.
Yep. And that Knight of the Reliquary can just go for, like, Wasteland here if he wanted to, you know.
Reid will play a Deathrite Shaman. That'll trigger Nettle Sentinels untap. That looks like it's going to resolve. Now remember, Strassman can respond at any point with the G counters if you'd like to. We're going to see how he wants to go about managing that equipment, and it looks like he's going to make a bit of a move here to take care of the Metal Sentinel.
Well, it might just be a move to keep the Cradle off of 2 mana.
Yeah. Which I think is pretty smart.
Yeah.
Now all Duke can do is pass the turn back. Maybe going to try to hope that this Deathrite Shaman lives through the turn. That would give him black mana for the Abrupt Decay, but I don't know if it's even about Abrupt Decay anymore.
Yeah, he's so far behind that it's all going to work for Mark at this point.
Teague going to come across. Dryder we're going to come across. Stoneforge Mystic wearing a very powerful equipment will come across. No good blocks here for Duke.
No,
so
yeah,
take it.
Reid can't even block. I mean, the -1/-1 from the Jitty just makes for easy trades.
Going to remove a couple of counters from the equipment to take care of the Deathrite Shaman. Keep choking Reid's mana is exactly what Mark is doing.
Yeah, we saw the Knight of the Reliquary stay back. He's got the 20/20 for next turn.
Yeah, and that is going to do it.
Yeah.
Mark Strassman's going to win this match here over Reid at Duke, 2-0. Punishing Maverick will take care of Elves. For Strassman, it's a great start to the day. Wins what is typically a pretty difficult matchup and beats arguably the best player in the room.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's fun when you get to do everything you want to do and your opponent doesn't.
Yeah. He did a nice job of stopping Reid from trying to accomplish what Elves generally accomplishes. Reid did have a little bit of mulligan issues there. Goes to 5 in game number 1 and goes to 6 in game number 2.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, Strassman was able to get the job done.
No, a win is a win, and Mark kept smart hands. You know, he was able to go, double Swords to Plowshares on the second